vostra pace.
Good day, and welcome to this year's Testimonial and Recognition Rites of the College of Economics and Management. Allow me to express my congratulations to the graduating class of SEM. I salute you, for I know that the past months have been more than the challenge you bargained for when you first entered the university as wide-eyed freshmen some years back. But you have risen to the challenge of remote learning and the arduous task of completing your requirements in the midst of the pandemic has now come into fruition. I would also like to congratulate your parents. They are equally deserving of the applause, the accolades, and the acclaim each one of you is experiencing right now. Tomorrow, you will be declared graduates, after which you will officially be part of the labor force, albeit the labor force of an economy that has been stricken ill by this health crisis known as the COVID-19 pandemic. Almost 2 years have passed since the first COVID-19 case was reported, and 1.5 years since the country went into lockdown. We now face the daunting task of rebuilding a devastated economy, restoring confidence to our institutions, and rekindling the dying embers of hope for many of the marginalized. Such is the immense challenge that today's graduating class has to face. A 9.6% contraction of the GDP in 2020, an 8.7% unemployment rate, and a still increasing COVID-19 caseload. And as the country confronts these significant challenges in vaccinating our population with COVID-19 vaccines due to difficulties in obtaining sufficient supplies, as well as the logistical problems of implementing a large-scale vaccination rollout nationwide, the new normal still seems to be far beyond the horizon. But I have faith in you that you can overcome all these challenges and obstacles and serve the people with honor and excellence. Your stay in UPLB, in the College of Economics and Management, by fighting the good fight and by finishing the race, have developed in you the resilience and fortitude to build back better and pull our countrymen out of this quagmire of gloom and hopelessness. Sa mga magsisipagtapos na iskolar ng bayan, alam kong napakalaking hamon ang inyong hinaharap. Hindi iilan ang alam ko ngayon pa lamang ay pinanghihinaan na ng loob. Subalit huwag kayong mag-alala at mawalan ng pag-asa, sapagkat kasama nyo pa rin ang Universidad ng Pilipinas sa diwa at sa gawa, sa paglilingkod sa sambayanan, lalong-lalo na sa mga nasa laylayan ng lipunan. Magkakasama nating babagtasin ang matinik at masilimuot na landas tungo sa pagbangon at pagbabago. Dala ang tapang, talino, dangal at husay. Magkakasama nating pagsusumikapang itaguyod ang isang bagong bukas. Isang bukas na kung saan ang bawat Pilipino ay may buhay na sapat, matatag at maginhawa. At sa tulong ng poong may kapal, sama-sama nating makakamit ang tagumpay. Muli, ako ay nagpupugay sa inyo, mga iskolar ng bayan para sa bayan. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat.
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Hayaan niyong simulan ko ang aking mensahe sa isang mainit na pagbati at pagpupugay sa mga nagsisipagtapos ngayong araw na ito. Binabati ko rin ang inyong pamantasan, ang pamantasan ng Pilipinas sa Los Baños, na pinamumunuan ng aking kaibigan, Chancellor Dong Camacho, sa patuloy na paghubog sa ating mga kabataan sa gitna ng pandemyang ating kinakaharap ngayon. Today, while the situation has somehow improved compared to March 2020, things are clearly from how they were before and would probably not go back to the old normal. We have learned to adapt and embrace the new normal, and there is no turning back now. I understand your frustration of missing a live graduation. Pero saludo ako sa inyo dahil napagtagumpayan ninyo ang mga hamon ng pandemya at naipagpapatuloy ang pag-aaral sa kabila ng mga balakid at limitasyon. At ngayon ay mas handa na kayong harapin ang sunod na yugto ng inyong buhay. You and your university were able to courageously respond to the needs of the times, move forward as one and rise above the challenges. I commend your university for rising up to the challenge to continue learning even during the pandemic. Now, on the part of CHED, we acted quickly and conscientiously at the onset of the pandemic and devised ways to allow continued access to quality education through alternative modes of learning. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, it was my abiding faith as chairman of the commission to move and shift towards a policy of flexible learning, because deeply I knew that our universities, our university officials, our faculty and students were in the best position to determine the appropriate learning methods to be adopted at the ground level. I knew that our universities were brilliant and just needed guidance and steering on the part of the commission so that they can navigate the very perilous journey to address COVID-19. We wanted to ensure that learning continued by adopting a policy of flexible learning all over the country. Flexible learning is a very simple policy. It is anchored on the belief that universities were in the best position to determine the appropriate mix of learning delivery systems based on health conditions on the ground, their coordination with local governments, the capacity of their teachers and their students to adjust to new modes of learning, the connectivity and gadgets that were available. As the pandemic moved on, one of our initiatives in the commission is what we call PhilChed Connect, designed to facilitate access to quality learning materials. We trained thousands of our faculty members in flexible learning in collaboration with top universities here and abroad. As long as we move together, work together, pray together under the spirit of bayanihan, and as long as we learn to educate as one, we can withstand all the trials we are facing today. The transition to flexible learning, I know, poses tremendous challenges. But staying true to our undying spirit of courage and resilience, we continue to explore and implement learning modalities that are innovative, that are new, that are technology mediated. As we shift teaching and learning processes adaptive to the needs of the students, we are proud of what you have achieved. And we are confident that with the brand of education provided by your university, you can achieve much, much more. Let me take this opportunity to remind you that as graduates of a state university, you are considered scholars of the state. Kayo ang tunay na scholar ng bayan dahil ang inyong pag-aaral ay pinondohan ng buwis ni Juan de la Cruz. It is therefore befitting for true scholars to give back to their country. Let your graduation remind you of the gains that you have achieved collectively and individually, and the constant push to do better and to be better as you enter the world of work. As you leave the portals of the university, I am very optimistic that you will become active contributors to the development of our nation and the competitiveness of the Filipino people. You have been equipped with the necessary competencies anchored on the university's core values. And so you must use this to make your distinctive mark in society by transforming lives. Never stop learning and continue to pursue activities that will serve as precursors of discovery to ensure continuous productivity and sustainability for future generations. Once again, congratulations to the batch of 2021. Mabuhay kayong lahat.
Isang mainit na pagbati at pagpupugay sa lahat ng kasama natin sa programang ito ngayong araw. Today is a day of triumph. It is a day of reminiscing, a day of excitement, a day of celebration and joy. To UPLB's class of 2021, congratulations! You have persevered through the obstacles and disruptions that have beset us all this past year, and will reap your reward, the title of graduate and alumnus of UPLB. I know that the past year, your last year as a UPLB student, was not at all how you envisioned it to be. Due to the pandemic, the majority of you had to vacate the campus and then to adapt to the implementation of flexible remote learning. You had stresses upon stresses heaped on you, but you have pushed through and succeeded. And so today, we celebrate the culmination of your hard work and dedication. Today, we stand witness to highs and lows, ups and downs, laughters and tears. That was your time here in UPLB. You have a vast array of career options as graduates of the College of Economics and Management. Whether it is in business, the academe, public service, or entrepreneurship. Whether you have already chosen a career path or are still taking time to decide, we hope that your UPLB memories will serve as inspiration for you to pursue your choices with determination and perseverance. SEM is so proud to have had a hand in nurturing your potential and helping you grow into the individuals you are today. The perspectives which you have learned here will undoubtedly be very useful for you and your future endeavors, paired with a compassionate heart and spirit of service. No goal will be unattainable for you. The road going forward is no smooth journey. The world is changing at an incredible pace. And we hope that we have prepared you well enough to be able to adapt to those changes going forward. We have given you the tools, and from this moment on, you must take the knowledge, the skills, the critical thinking which we have taught you and use them to weave your own story in this grand tapestry we call life. Keep an eye on the horizon. Try to always be prepared for what the future might bring, and strive to be kind and compassionate to everyone you meet. Ang mga hangarin at pangarap natin para sa isang magandang kinabukasan ng ating pamayanan at ng ating bansa ay nasa inyo ng mga kamay. Sa ating pagsisilbi sa bayan, laging isabuhay ang dangal at husay na pamana ng ating pamantasang hirang. Padayon, Class of 2021.
A pleasant day, everyone. Our esteemed guest speaker is currently the college president of the Northern Bukidnon State College. Prior to that, she was employed for 21 years at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, where she served as graduate school dean, executive assistant vice president for higher education, assistant dean for the College of Arts and Sciences, and economics department chairperson. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Economics, major in Development Economics in 1997 at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, her Master of Arts in Economics at the University of San Carlos in 2007, and PhD in Development Studies, major in Economics and Public Policy at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños in 2018. While taking her PhD in Development Studies, she took additional PhD fellowships through the grants she received at the University of Freiburg, Germany in 2016 and University of Bergen in Norway in 2017. She graduated with Academic Excellence Awards and as class valedictorian of the College of Public Affairs and Development. Over the last 20 years, she has attended international trainings through scholarships, fellowships, grants, and awards from over 20 universities and international organizations from over 15 countries. She has completed more than 20 research projects that were funded by national and international organizations and implemented locally and internationally by multidisciplinary and multisectoral groups. She has also produced several monographs and books and more than 15 research articles that are published in international refereed journals and indexed in the ISI World of Science and Scopus. Though she has accomplished so much in less than 25 years after graduating with a BS Economics degree from SEM UPLB, she has always remained very humble. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a warm round of virtual applause to this year's SEM Testimonial Rites guest speaker, Dr. Catherine Rowan Chico Almaden.
Good day. I am very honored to be invited to share my experiences as a UPLB economics graduate. I thank Ma'am Les Catello and Professor Chito for this opportunity. Today, I will be sharing with you the major benefits of being an LB graduate of economics. I would consider myself as a hybrid. My educational attainment from UPLB and my professional formation from the Ateneo tradition. So forgive me if my way of proceeding will be influenced by the Ignatian process following the elements of context, experience, and reflection. With that, I divided my sharing into 3 parts. Why economics? I ended up in an undergraduate economics degree a bit randomly, to be honest. When I was in high school, I really thought I was good in math. So you would imagine my jubilation when I got accepted as a PS statistics major at UPLB. And fortunately, because the UPLB registrar received my confirmation a bit late, my slot was given to another student in the waitlist. And so I ended up taking AB Communication Arts because it was one of the programs with courses which could be credited to almost all academic programs in UPLB. On hindsight, I was grateful it happened because I was able to meet my would have been blackmates from BS Stat in a number of occasions, and I saw them struggling, which made me decide to consider another program with relatively fewer mathematics subjects. At that time, shifting to another program would require the aptitude test. And based on the results, the recommended courses were still BS Statistics, BS Computer Science, and Economics. Obviously, I took Economics. Luckily, early on, I realized that I was definitely more interested in economics than any other allied programs. Economics seemed to put some order in the world and made me realize that it empowers individuals to understand situations and make decisions more strategically about almost every aspect in life. I am what you would consider as an ordinary UPLB student. Ordinary in the sense that we have brilliant blackmates like Dr. Greg Margalinato and Professor Ana Floresca. Although I did not fail any courses, I did drop Math 26 to the dismay of my academic advisor, Chansey Dong Camacho. I considered myself very lucky because early on, I already have Chansey Dong as my advisor. Chansey Dong then pleaded for me to continue taking the Math 26 subject as it is a prerequisite course for all my economics major courses. No amount of pleading stopped me from dropping the course. Our math professor was one of the terror teachers then. I believed only 8 students passed in the class of 50 students. Yes, our class was quite big because he just allowed all students who wished to enroll the course to take it without any prerogative. Speaking of prerogative, I have very good memories to tell, especially for my history, humanities, and philosophy. However, I'm afraid I don't have the luxury of time to share them. Nonetheless, it took me one summer term and one semester to get back on track academically as a regular student. By that point, I had entirely recreated my interest in most of my economics major subjects. Till this day, I could still remember my economics professors. Dr. Sanyano for my macroeconomics, Dr. Archie Costales for microeconomics and public economics, the late Sir Lito Añonevo for history of economic thought and mathematical economics, Sir Prime Rodriguez for econometrics, Dr. Sumalde for international economics, Dr. Cabanilla for development economics, Dr. Herbie Francisco for natural resource and environmental economics, whom I later met when I had my fellowship with IPSI, Chansey Dong for my labor economics, of course, and finally, the most charming Ma'am Les Catelo for my money and banking. Indeed, I have the most formidable and the most outstanding professors while taking my economics course. So how did I survive those years? One of the greatest support system I had in surviving my economics degree were my peers in my 4 organizations, most especially Economic Society. I belong to the BG era. In other words, the before Google era. And so everything I need to know, I can either get by going to the library, but the fastest would be to ask the brilliant people in the EconSoc. It also helped a lot that one of our brads was already a professor at the economics department through the person of Sir Agham Cuevas, who would gladly provide us guidance from time to time. Joining organizations was really an instrumental decision for me as a college student. By joining organizations, I was able to build my confidence, develop leadership skills, and deal people from various cultural backgrounds and ideologies. As an economist, the opportunity cost of my time is worth the immense benefits I receive from the academic support, the lasting friendships, the level of involvement across campus activities, the expansion of my network, and the amount of fun and the fond memories I gained. All of this contributed a lot to my growth as a person and my professional career. I encourage all of you to be more engaged as it can hugely impact your student experience and later your career in a positive way. My final year was the toughest and the most memorable too. It was very daunting to hear the catchphrase, all but thesis degree. Still, I was very fortunate to be mentored by Dr. Ruilana Briones for my thesis, and of course, my reader is no less than Chansey Dong Camacho. Back then, we were hailed as Ruel's angels. My mentoring and consultations are quite rigorous, as Sir Ruel would often require us, his mentees, to read at least 10 references for each section for every chapter of our thesis. Every end of each consultation, our other batchmates from other thesis advisors would often comment their results as madugo. However, on our part, we would say nagluluksa, as Sir Ruel would prefer using black pen in checking our manuscripts. Nonetheless, sheer perseverance and constant follow-ups with both my mentor and reader enabled me to complete my thesis just in time for me to be granted with my degree after 4 years in college. After graduation, I really wanted to work in Manila. However, with the prodding of my parents, I was forced to go home and eventually land my first job 1 month after my graduation. My first job was with the biggest telecom company of the country as a credit and collection officer. It must have been providential because this is where I met my husband. I have never been more thankful for listening to my parents. When I was an undergrad, I really imagined myself working in a corporate world because of my fascination seeing the corporate people that we would see every time we visit NSCB in Makati for our data collection. However, I decided to look for another job because I got bored with the routinary work applying only elementary mathematics. Remember, I took Math 26 twice, and economics is really a quantitative course by nature. I'm sure you could all understand my predicament. Luckily, I was introduced by a coworker to a Xavier Ateneo Economics Department chair. That led me to try part-time teaching for a year, and eventually I accepted the offer to teach full-time. At Xavier Ateneo, I ended up doing what I am truly passionate about, that is research and teaching. More importantly, at Xavier Ateneo, my professional formation was under the totality of the human person, including the social, political, cultural, moral, intellectual, psychological, and spiritual dimensions. I am grateful for the privilege to serve Xavier Ateneo de Cagayan for 20 years, a truly inspirational community of Jesuit leaders, teachers, scholars and workers, learners and supporters. My professional work has been blessed with many professional colleagues who over the years have made my various assignments fulfilling and worthwhile. My formation at Xavier Ateneo has prepared me to a greater mission, and that is to serve my hometown. My appointment at Northern Bukidnon State College has come at a time it is poised to redefine the higher education in the country, especially with the onset of the global pandemic. 24 years ago, when all this began, I would have never envisioned myself where I am now. I came to UPLB filled with fear and anxiety of a UP education. Honor and excellence has been the buzzword we have become familiar with. But I will forever remember with fondness all the experiences which built the strong foundation for my career. The professors, staff, and friends that guided me will always have a special place in my heart, as these are the people who believe in me when I was sure I deserved it. Reflecting on my own journey, there have been three major lessons that helped me attain significant milestones in life. Lessons which I believe many can resonate. These are the lessons on perseverance, hope, and gratitude. Attaining your degree is just the beginning and not the ending of this long winding pursuit for excellence. It is up to us degree holders to decide whether we want the title it confers or to develop ourselves as scholars with a noble purpose. One thing is for sure, there will always be challenges. As we move through life, we need to persist and be consistent. It will be incredibly gratifying to propel ourselves forward through our own will and power of good intention. One should remain hopeful and not waste energy on the things beyond our control. Always be grateful for all the blessings you receive and use your gifts for the betterment of the lives entrusted to us. Although my story is my own, many students face challenges and detours to their degree. Hopefully, with my sharing today, you can find comfort in my story and continue on your own journeys. All in all, thank you and all the best to the UPLB Department of Economics, faculty, staff, and students.
This certificate of appreciation is given to Catherine Rowin Chico Almaden for serving as guest speaker during the SEM Testimonial Rites 2021, held on 5 August 2021 at the College of Economics and Management, UP Los Baños College, Laguna. Given this 5th day of August 2021, signed, yours truly.
The graduates of the Bachelor of Science in Agribusiness Management. Second semester 2019-2020. De la Torre Novi Grace T. Del Valle Elmira O. Herradura Luis Lane G. Mijares Gabriela D.G. Reyes Aldos Brian M. Sevilla John Morihei D.G. Tado Joshua Eliser M. For first semester 2020-2021, Domingiano Vince Nathaniel S. Encarnacion Rinks Neclus C. La Roya Rica Janine G. Rivera Justin May T. Sanchez Lian D.P. Tachado Henji Oliver. Tobias Marvy J.L. Villaluz Angela Kirsten T. For second semester 2020-2021, Bolima Dean Mark A. Casilia Joy Ann P. De la Cruz Jomel V. Cavasan Loti Marie C. Perez Pamela C. Perfecto Micaela M. Sarmiento Dian Claire G. Siatpuatco Pedro Jose A. Sapanta John Andre A.
For the graduates of Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Economics, second semester 2019-2020. Aldipolio Chantal Louis C. Kalubayan Chelsea P. Canillas Ian George C. Cuenca Madeline Claret L. De la Cruz Chiaro Guillen B. Gonzales Jana Mitzi DC. Gilas Maria Cristina C. Inoceno Rochelle L. Lanting Maria Angela H. Lat Hannah Gabriela R. Maghirang Lovella P. Maningas Sian Vince Ruel D. Nagrama Eliza May B. Salem Kaltem Salem B. Yusuf Aljael B. Dana May T. Yarte cum laude. For first semester 2020-2021, Baltasar Dexter Patrick S. Cruz Patrick Dave S. Elisterio Jesslyn Nicole Q. Jimenez John Dominic T. Labayan Andre Gabriel A. Magdales Briggs F. Molina Irish Joy C. Perez Joshua Timothy G. Quiñones Consuelo L. For second semester 2020-2021, Amits Joaquin Angelo S. Amoranto Joshua Hodini R. Descartin Nathaniel F. Rojas John Caleb B.
The graduates of the Bachelor of Science in Economics. For the second semester 2019-2020, Acacio Riza May T. Valderas Maria Isabel Lydia E. Bolus Joshly Nicole. De Guzman Kyle Edmark M. Echanova Timothy L. Pahigal John Carlos D. Victorio Karen Grace A. For the first semester 2020-2021, Irugin Hannah M. For the second semester 2020-2021, Angustia Ann Jillian P. Caballero Carl Jerome M. Dayan Ashley Rose R. Lopez Patricia S. Salom Ann Marilet E. Santos Joshua Emmanuel R.
SEM Honors Student from the Bachelor's of Science in Agricultural Economics, Dana May T. Yarte, cum laude.
The 2021 Best Special Problem Award goes to Denmark A. Bolima with his research exploring the key determinants of game fowl breeders' adoption of an integrated game fowl and security system IGISS using the Integrated Technology Acceptance Model TAM and Theory of Plant Behavior TPB. For the 2021 Best MM Research goes to Chris Edwin B. Bonalos with his research, The Valuation of a Pre-Revenue Startup, the Case of a Software Company.
Ang pahinungod din ay ginagawad sa mga natatanging nagsipagtapos na nagsilbing volunteer ng universidad. Sila ay mga namumukod tanging mag-aaral na nagbigay ng oras, kakayanan, talino at pagmamalasakit upang tugunan ang tawag ng oblasyon na paglingkuran ang kamaralitang komunidad at sektor ng lipunan. Sa kanilang sakripisyo at pag-aalay ng sarili, patuloy na nabubuhay ang diwa at kaluluwa ng Universidad ng Pilipinas na maglilingkod sa bayan ng walang hinihinging kapalit. Sa kanilang maliliit na paraan, sila ang nagsisilbing higanting simbolo ng pamantasan ng bayan at mga tagapagdala ng mensahe ng kaunlaran at pag-asa. Ang Pahinungod Award to Volunteers sa taong ito ay sina Joaquin Angelo S. Amitz, Jana Mitzi D.C. Gonzalez, Iris Joy C. Molina, Dana May T. Yarte.
Good day, honored guests, faculty, academic and supporting staff, friends, family, and all of you, my fellow graduates. A few weeks ago, I received a call from our college regarding this speech. At first, I felt really grateful for the opportunity to speak on behalf of our batch. But apparently, I also felt anxious because first, of course, I will have to face the camera and you may see the imperfections of my face. And second, because usually, speeches like this leave the audience a remarkable impact that they can take as they go out of the university. The first few questions that came into my mind were, how can I make a big impact in front of all these people? What will I be remembered for? But then I realized it was never about me. Today, I want all of us to remember ourselves, to look back to the joys and pains of our life in the university. But most importantly, I want all of us to remember the people who really deserve the supplies we are all wearing today. The Filipino people who financed our studies in the university. The Filipino people who educated us with the beauty and the ugliness of our country's reality. Before, during, and after my stay at the university, I've always heard people saying, we have to educate the people regarding this and that. Well, maybe I can agree that it is our social responsibility to help each other out. But the question is, do we really educate people? How do we educate people? And what makes us eligible to educate the Filipino people? Is it merely because we studied in the premier university of the country? I hope not. Throughout my stay, I was the one being educated by the mass. While it is very important for us to share our knowledge to the people, it is also very important for us to pause and listen to the very people who have the first-hand experience of what we've only learned in textbooks. After all, UP education is not just about taking pride in being the pioneer in higher education, but more so upholding honor and excellence towards social progress and transformation. I believe we all have different stories about how we got into the university, and I'm sure there's a variety of motivations about why we are here now. But we've all made a common discovery. We all went to the grounds of the university where real change happened. As Master Yoda from Star Wars said, you have to unlearn what you have learned. One of the most important forms of growth we had in the university is learning the art of unlearning. In a sense, unlearning means letting go of false beliefs and assumptions that we formerly used to govern our thinking. I also had my fair share of false beliefs, prejudices, and mindsets before, and maybe even until today. But that's where the beauty of unlearning comes in. Upon learning the reality and being educated by the mass, I had to unlearn these to acquire new knowledge to help me move forward. Learning and unlearning. Before, I am a firm believer that anyone can do anything only if they work hard enough to achieve their goals. It may sound like a motivational statement, right? Well, maybe it will work for some, but not until privilege comes in. While I often thought of privilege as more of financial privileges, I was not able to consider other privileges such as health, connections, relationships, and time. I was in my third year when I had to unlearn this connotation the hard way. During that time, I am the kind of student you may want to group with because I was very responsible and hardworking. I am someone who usually does most of the tasks in group work. But I may also be the kind of student you don't want to group with because I am very competitive that I became a bossy leader. I always want my group mates to do their best because again, I am a firm believer of hard work. Everything goes well and I have made good presentations and papers, not until I was grouped with someone who does not work as I do. As immature as I am at that time, I got so upset because my groupmate was not able to submit her part on the day of our presentation. I worked so hard for my part and the time was running out that I cannot compensate for her part anymore. My emotions were too high that I didn't even bother to ask her properly and I immediately said words that I regret saying even up to this day. She had her family emergencies and she didn't have the same privilege as me. She didn't have the time to prepare for the report. A very important part that I have missed because I was too preoccupied with the stress of not getting a good report. At that time, I had to unlearn to learn. While we, the millennials, and the Gen Z generations are very aware, politically involved, and dare I say, woke, we cannot be educated on everything. I have witnessed and even participated on the growing hate on social media between the gap of those people who oppose my political stance and those whom I opposed with. I am one of those who are very concerned with people's lack of political knowledge and disgusted by their ignorance. Just as when people do not have the knowledge that we have, some of us may be too quick to assume the worst of those people and we may consider them lesser than ourselves. But as Bangambiki Habyarimana said in his book Pearls of Eternity, every revolution starts with the aim to help the poor. But when the poor get it, they forget who they were, and they become the new oppressors. The cycle goes on forever. We educate and we get educated. That's the harmony of the education we get in the university. Because we are not the voice of the mass, nor the heroes who can save them right after we graduate. But we can be the pipelines of their calls. Serve the people, we always say. But whom are we serving if we have chips on our shoulders for knowing what they don't? Whom are we serving if we will just project our high academic standard, our academic achievements, just to shame them for what they don't know? My fellow graduates, our knowledge and skills were not owned for us to just sit at our comforts and build walls against the very people whom we ought to serve. We did not maintain and enhance our high academic standard for us to be elite members of the society. But we are committed to serving the Filipino nation and humanity. Because passing UPCAT is one thing, yet to be a true scholar ng bayan is another thing. However, this does not mean that we will be timid against the enablers of injustice who pervert facts just to serve their political ideologies. The economic devastation of this pandemic has exposed the country's deep-rooted class divide, and it threatens to leave the lower wage earners in longer financial distress. This pandemic has pummeled the marginalized sector at a time when they have already been suffering from the growing corruption and exploitation in the country. While most of our countrymen are struggling to barely survive each day, some of our alleged public servants have been milking every penny of the Filipino people to print their faces and their names in the tarpaulins. While our regular citizens who do not have the luxury of being senators are being arrested daily for breaking the curfew, for being outside, and for overstepping the lockdown guidelines, our VIPs have the privilege of compassion over the law. Well, this is just the typical due process for allies and warrantless arrest for the rest. This pandemic, when a matter of life and death happens, has exposed the motivations of our country's leaders, where money and power weigh more than people's lives. And now that we've witnessed all of this, our crucial contribution as members of the society comes in. Who among you here believes that when you don't decide, somebody else will decide for you? Well, it is true. Politicians only listen to two things: money and votes. So this coming election, let us all practice our right to vote and vote for leaders who do not violate our rights. I would also like to take this opportunity to give my fellow graduates a glimpse of what can lie ahead. I think one of the good opportunities I can share with you is the fact that I already have work even before I make this speech. I am already in what they call the real world after college. So today, after this celebration, some of us may get torn between the need to get rest and the anxiety to get a job. The transition will not be easy, but it does not mean that it will be too crippling for you to get by. The transition can be both painful yet fulfilling, messy but beautiful, because this time we have to let go of what was and accept something new, usually something unfamiliar and oftentimes scary. Most of the time we are told to do well in school, to go to a good college and be successful. But once you've graduated from college, what do you do next? How do you become successful? And particularly in today's pandemic, with hardly any jobs and opportunities, how do you enter the real world? To be honest, we are often told to move constantly, to go somewhere and be someone. But the thing is, wherever you are right now is exactly where you need to be. And whoever you are right now is exactly who you need to be. And if one day you did nothing but to stay alive, that is more than enough. So whatever path you may want to take after this, take it whenever you are ready. Once again, congratulations, class of 2021.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, a graduate of the College of Economics and Management, University of the Philippines, Los Baños,
University of the
in the year
Philippines, Los Baños.
2020-2021, hereby solemnly swear
Hereby solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge to the best of
that
my
I will
ability
faithfully discharge to the best of my
the
ability
duties of a member of the CEM Alumni Association, and that I will support and defend its Constitution.
its Constitution.
I hereby pledge my
I hereby
unswerving
pledge
loyalty
my
to my alma
unswerving
mater,
loyalty to my alma
and I
mater,
impose this obligation
and
upon
I
myself
impose this obligation
without mental
upon myself
reservation
voluntarily.
or purpose of evasion.
Without mental reservation or
So
purpose of
help me
evasion.
God.
So help me.
Congratulations.
I would like to conclude today's SEM virtual graduation rites by sending my best wishes and heartfelt congratulations to the SEM graduating class of 2021. Indeed, this academic year has been very challenging. Due to the pandemic, we had to face and accept the new normal landscape of education. Finishing this school year during these trying times has been very remarkable, and I would like to commend the hard work, dedication, and passion of our faculty and students in dealing and coping with the remote learning setup to meet the most essential academic requirements. My dear graduates, you just have marked a significant milestone in your lives. As you move forward in your chosen careers, keep in mind the guiding principles of the university: honor and excellence. Certainly, more challenges will come your way, but stay focused, enjoy the journey, and embrace the detours along your way. SEM graduating class of 2021, and now my fellow alumni of the College of Economics and Management, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, congratulations and padayon.